This is Joe Blasco again. We're here in the beautiful Bobby Joy Makeup Studio in South Beverly Drive. And we have Bobby, and this young lady's name is Rosa. Rosa is our gorgeous model today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over to Bobby, and Bobby is going to explain exactly every detail of how she's doing this makeup. All right, Bobby, it's all yours.
Thank you. Okay, well, I worked on Rose's eyebrows before we started. She's letting them grow back in a little bit. And so now that that's all done, it's a little bit red. And she did clean her face this morning, but you know, kind of oils kind of seep in a little bit. So I'm using some makeup wipe to just wipe around, and especially on her eyelids, because we don't want any oily eyelids. Rosa, do you have contact lenses? No. Okay. All right, so once we do that, I'm just going to put a light moisturizer with an SPF 15. Do you get oily?
Not so much.
Not so much? Okay, good. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit, and I'm just gently going to apply it all over. Now, this is really good if you're mostly indoors, which you are, but you have to run out and get your lunch or something so you know that you're protected. But if you were going to be in the sun, then you would need a higher SPF, and we might want to put that on first. Okay, so once we've done this, I'm going to go and I'm going to select a mineral tint to put on you, and the reason I'm using that is because you really do have very nice skin. So all I really want to do is just kind of just blend it out a little bit so that it isn't a little blotchy and whatever, and that way you don't feel like you're wearing a lot of makeup. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to use this mineral tint, and I want you to know how to use it because a lot of people put way too much and you don't need a lot. So what I do is I just squeeze a little bit out like this, all right? And just like you're putting your moisturizer on, that's how you're going to put this on. You're just going to put it everywhere. Right? You're going to have to polish up your diamond afterwards.
And exactly what is this, Bobby?
This is a mineral tint, and it has an SPF 20, so you're pretty protected. And as I was telling Rosa, it's a very, very sheer, but just enough coverage to kind of blend everything together, which I much prefer when I'm doing makeup because I don't feel that we need heavy-duty makeup anymore. A little bit goes a long way, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it on your eyelids too, so keep your eyes closed. I'm going to just use a little bit heavier foundation where I need it, just to cover maybe a little red mark or maybe up here where I've tweezed, but that's all she needs.
Now, will you be using the same product for the heavier coverage and just putting a little more on, or is there another product that you have?
No, it's another product. Right. So I'm just, this is when you use a brush, because you're just wanting to just cover up the little red that we have. So
And what is this called, this product?
This is a stick foundation. It's heavily pigmented, so a little tiny bit goes a long way, and it really covers everything.
And is this called Bobby Joy Stick Foundation?
This is called Bobby Joysticks.
Perfect! Bobby Joysticks. I love it.
Isn't that cute?
Yes, it is.
Because everybody who uses this loves it. Because it
Excellent.
covers everything, so it makes them happy.
And you see how Bobby is very gently just patting the makeup onto the areas where she needs it, and then blending it. The more she pats, the more it blends away the edges. And she's leaving a little more where she needs it for coverage, and then she takes the same brush and blends away the edges all the way around the area that she's giving coverage to.
This is a cream concealer, and I'm only going to put a drop just right here. Just want to highlight this area. And a lot of times what I'll do is put everything on my hand so that I'm not working from the container, because a lot of times you put too much on, so I'd rather go back and do a little more.
When you're working that way, using your hand as a palette, the body heat actually helps to break down the makeup and make it more easily able to be applied. And obviously, Bobby sanitized her hand
Oh,
prior
yes.
to
I
doing
have
that.
hand sanitizer, 99% alcohol, brush cleaner. Oh, we got the whole 9 yards. All right. Keep your eyes closed. I'm just mostly putting a lot of powder on the eyelid itself because we want the eyeshadows to cling powder to powder rather than powder to the oils of your lids.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put some along her cheeks.
And you can see how beautifully she's blended the makeup right up to the hairline here. And there's no makeup on the hair. She's been very, very careful not to get makeup on the hair. And the color that she selected harmonizes perfectly with the model's actual skin undertone. So there was really no necessity to bring it down onto the neck because it matches the neck perfectly.
Okay, so now that we have that, now we're going to go to the eyebrows, and I want to have a discussion about the eyebrows because what we're going to do, I've tweezed her eyebrows, we're letting them grow in a little bit, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to very, very lightly pencil her brow, and I like pencil because I have more control over it, and so do the people that are using it have more control. And so what I'm doing is I want to strengthen the very front of her brow just a little bit. So I just go through right here where her hair is and just give her a little tiny bit of cover. I'm using a taupe pencil. I want to use a pencil that's lighter than the color of her hair. I will put a gel on and that will brush the hair over the pencil so that it doesn't look like pencil. Because in the end, we want it to look very, very natural. So this is what I do, and then you can just kind of take the brush and just kind of brush through it.
I love this pencil with the brush
On the end, it makes it really easy. So I'm gonna do the same thing over here. This one is has a little bit less hair, so we have to kind of fake it. And I always tell people that your eyebrows should be 2 parallel lines. So if we have a line on the top, then we have a line on the bottom, angling at the same angle.
See, you have the line here. This is a parallel line on the bottom.
Right here.
And then again, we're here.
On the top to your highest point, which is your arch.
The arch would be right here.
Which is generally, a lot of people make a mistake, and this is really important. Rosa, open your eye for just a second. They have a tendency to start the arch right here. They think that this is where your arch goes, and all of a sudden you come up here and there's nothing left. So your arch is generally close to the outer edge of your iris.
Correct.
So this is where you want to put that. And then when you get to your highest point, then you want an elongated triangle or elongated taper.
You see how beautifully she's made this line straight here, straight right to the arch on the top and straight right to the arch on the bottom. And then it curves very gently. It comes out.
Right, so that it is not a hard,
Right.
you don't want it like a zigzag, you want a soft.
And I noticed that you didn't drag it down, but you actually flared it out toward the top of the ear.
Right.
Which is exactly how we do it.
Okay, so now I'm going to just brush through this, and I'm going to take a white highlighter pencil, and I am going to draw a line right underneath her brow. And this does not take any particular talent to do this because we don't care that it's exactly perfect because we're going to blend it with a cotton swab.
It really delineates that bottom edge, pulls that
Right.
out. It just emphasizes the straightness of
The
the
brow,
line
and it
of the
also
brow.
helps when the brow isn't exactly perfect to
Right.
make it look pretty perfect.
You can actually go right over the hair a little too if there's a hair that's
Right.
not quite in the right spot.
And then when I put the shadow on, I go right up to the pencil, and that way it doesn't look like it's in your hair, the powder, it's just right to that line.
Right, exactly.
So I just blend it, and you blend it as much as you want. I like it when it's there, but not too obvious.
Look how beautifully symmetrical both of these brows are. See, all of the preparation that Bobby did prior to the application of the coloring has allowed her to be able to really create perfectly symmetrical brows. That's lovely work. Very nice.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a brow gel. It's a clear gel, and I'm just going to brush her hair up. Now, what it does is, brushing it over the pencil it kind of delineates all the little hairs, so it makes you feel like you've got more hair than you really do. And Rosa's eyebrows want to kind of grow all over the place, so this is a good way to kind of brush them into place.
And this will hold the hairs in place.
It will hold it in place, so her eyebrow looks nice all the time. And I see a couple of hairs that I don't like, so I'm going to just quickly.
You see the sharpness of the point of the tweezers. She's able to pinpoint each hair just perfectly, so that the bottom line is very precise.
Yeah, and this is something that you cannot do with wax. I'm not a wax. I don't believe in waxing, but this is definitely not something that you can do with wax.
There are areas of the body that waxing is very appropriate for, but not particularly for this.
Okay, so here's my question. Now you notice I'm not putting more powder on. I'm just picking up some of the moisture right now, some of the shine, and then later on we'll see what we want to do about that. All right, how glamorous do we want to be today? Yeah?
Not so glamorous.
No? Okay.
Everyday.
Everyday look? Okay. I always like to ask my clients, it's very, very important to me that they feel comfortable with the makeup that I do. So I'm always asking them, I'm always asking them what it is that they want. Because a lot of times if you start off with too much makeup and they've never worn makeup before, or they don't wear a lot of makeup, they don't feel like themselves, and then they'll never come back. They'll never be your client again. So it's very, very important that you make them happy. All right, with that in mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a soft, pretty color for her. So again, I use my palette, and I'm going to take this color and I'm going to blend it in 3/4 of the way up her eye. Now, a lot of people put the shadow on like this, which is lovely, and then maybe 15-20 minutes later they look at themselves, or an hour later, and they say, where's my makeup? I don't know what happened to it. And it's because you didn't put enough on to begin with, because everybody's afraid of makeup. So it's very, very important that you put enough makeup on when you start, because when the skin absorbs it and when it's heated up, a lot of it can disappear. So once I've kind of laid it down like this, then I go back and I kind of pat it in. I'm a big proponent of patting. You can pat and then you can blend, okay? So that's what we're doing.
When you pat, you're actually placing the pigment exactly where you want it. Then blend. Beautiful.
Okay, so that's what we're doing. Now I'm going to take another different, softer, this is kind of a rose. Good, perfect for Rosa. Rose for Rosa. And then I'm going to use like a very light pink under her brow, and we're going to go right up to the white pencil that we discussed. Now the first color I used was kind of a matte color, but this color up here has a little bit of iridescence to it, just to give it a highlight and to lift her brow up a little bit. Like this. I can't keep all the colors that I have over here, so I'm running back and forth, but okay, so this is what we do. So we just blend. This is where we want to blend. When we want to blend the two colors together so you don't know where one starts and the other one stops. Okay? All right. Because of the way her eyelids are set, if you use and like a pencil or something, it'll have a tendency to run. So it's very, very important that we use something that stays. And this is the cream liner, and the cream liners don't move. I mean, when you put them on, they're there forevermore. So I'm gonna start with my little brush. Put this down. Again, I use my palette. And I'm going to just gently, as close to her eyelid, her lashes as I possibly can. And I'm going to elongate it just a little. Open your eye for just a minute. Now look down. Don't open your eyes and just look down. There you go. Perfect. When you do this, it's important that the person's eye is open slightly, because if it's closed, what happens is that it crinkles the eyelid, and then you don't get a smooth line. Another thing is, it's pretty much impossible to draw a straight line. You have to kind of do some little short strokes in order to get a perfect line. There you go, perfect. Good girl. I know it's hard, these lights are hard, but there we go. Let me see, open. All right, we're gonna just fill in a little bit. Sometimes you can make the line and then you can go back and you can fill in between the lashes a little bit, so that it makes the base of your lashes look thicker, which is another good thing about liner. We don't want to do too thick of a line because she wants a soft, pretty day look. So we did something kind of just thin and pretty.
Joe Blasco again here visiting with Bobby Joy. We're going to be right back right after this word. Don't go away.